It's that time. Plank of the Week is here again with me, Mike Graham, on Talk Radio TV. Welcome to Plank of the Week. This is, of course, the second floor in News UK's building, where we are going to be doing some amazing things over the course of the next few weeks. I'm joined today for this edition of Plank of the Week by Will Geddes, a security consultant to the stars and occasionally to me, and the beautiful Carol Decker, who has returned, lead singer of tpau, a woman of means and owner of dogs and children and husbands and all sorts of things like that.
Animal.
Welcome. She's back on tour, by the way, so we'll talk about that in a little while. But we haven't got a lot of time this week because time is against us, so we're going to rush through it. Carol, kick us off with your first plank, please.
OK, well, I'm going to go with, as a group, the Moscow elite.
Oh, yes.
Who have been absolutely...
That's a good one.
...devastated by the fact that Chanel closed its boutique.
Oh, no.
In the middle of Moscow. And so several of them, including two very successful and beautiful Russian models called Victoria Bonya and Marina Ermoshenko. Yes, got that right. They cut up their Chanel handbags on their Instagram and social media feeds to show...
Worth about, what, £5,000 each or something?
They were, yeah. And in the newspaper, it had a picture of Victoria cutting her Chanel quilted... I mean, I love a good handbag.
Oh, yeah.
It kind of hurt me a bit to watch her do it. And beside her, in another picture, was a person lying dead on a Ukraine street with his hands tied behind his back, had clearly been executed.
Yes.
But she was angry. She said this was anti-Russian propaganda.
Oh, I know.
And she's cross with Chanel.
It's shocking, isn't it? I mean, last time I saw a sort of proper TV report from Moscow before they kicked all the Western journalists out, they were in the Chanel shop because lots of people were still shopping there, and they said, we will still shop, we will still buy Chanel.
Supermarket
and it's all right,
sweep.
fine, you know. And, you know, we've got plenty of money, there's nothing wrong with the Russian economy. Well, I guess that's not true anymore.
Well, Chanel handbags, you know, are they in at the moment, though? That's the thing,
I mean,
Carol,
I prefer
you know.
Prada, to be honest. But, you know...
Well, or a nice Birkin bag. I'm sure they wouldn't do it with that. They're a lot more expensive.
You can always get a really
so I've been told.
Yeah. But no, I just think that I couldn't believe what I was reading, that she didn't... Clearly, maybe she's not being told what's going on, but you would have thought an international model like her would know a little bit about...
You would think.
They get about a bit.
Yeah, you would think.
But and she said, this is a dreadful way to treat your clients. Snip, snip, snip.
Well, we'll see whether
I'm not sure Chanel will really be losing much sleep over that.
I wouldn't
to
have
be
thought
honest.
so.
They've done the right
Probably
thing.
good PR for them, I would have thought.
They had to.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
Well, they want to be on the right side of the situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who's your first one, Will?
Well, my first one is the lovely Lorna Slater. So this plays into my absolute barrage of hate towards wokeness.
Yes.
And Lorna Slater
Who is she?
Well, she is an MP within the Green Party coalition with the Scottish National Party. Canadian-born and now living in Scotland. She is responsible, I think she's the Minister of Wokeness. That's probably not her official title. But she came out with this fabulous statement the other day about the transgender lobby, which is being petitioned and lobbied, obviously, in Parliament for anybody from the age of 16 to self-identify as a different gender.
Oh, yes.
Which my head is already beginning to hurt.
Oh, this is the new Scottish law that's coming in, isn't it?
Correct, Mondo. And what she did was there was a strong women's group called For Women that are termed as feminists, and I think it's all too easy to club that all together. Everybody else seems to have their own little pigeonhole.
Yeah,
so
sure.
to say For Women was a feminist group, I think is a bit of a stretch. These are women standing up for women's rights, quite understandably. Anyway, they opposed it, and she turned around and put them in the same category as anti-Semites and racists.
Aye.
So Ms. Slater...
Something going very wrong, isn't there?
Yeah, Ms. Slater, in my book, is a misguided idiot who's actually probably, for the causes that she's trying to promote, probably not doing them any favours.
No, but also everything gets weaponised now. So they all these people, you know, they've got their own agenda. They take her. She probably wants to get well known, raise her profile as the person that stood up for the trans lobby. And it's very easy to accuse people of something rather than talk to them and see what they really think about things. So then you've got to go around denying you're an anti-Semite or denying you're a transphobe when you're not. You just have a different perspective and you'd like a conversation.
Well, it was like when they started calling people COVID deniers, wasn't it? And it was like, well, you're clearly trying to link that to Holocaust denial, you know, which is really horrible and wrong and ghastly. But this is what they do. If you don't agree with them, you know, you're some kind of antichrist.
Oh, yeah, which I'll come even more onto with one of my further nominations later, Mike. But the thing that astounds me is they kind of microcosm everything, these people like Lorna Slater.
Yeah.
So unless you're speaking exactly the same, this is the thing I just effing hate about the whole wokeness right now, and even gay friends of mine who've gone, we want nothing to do with this whole thing.
My gay friends too.
They just want to distance themselves. It's like embarrassing. It's like someone in the room pointing a light on them and saying, you're responsible, you're involved in all this. And they're like, no, it's nothing to do with me. And it's people who are generally not even in that community.
Yes.
That are like Lorna Slater, because I don't think she's in the LGBTQI community. Plus and a negative and anything else, who is actually sort of waving a flag of wokeness to say, I'm standing by my sisters, my brothers, my its, my them's, their theirs, their
whatever.
whatever's.
Full disclosure,
my pronouns.
we have trans friends. My daughter has trans friends. I have friends with trans children. You know, I have one friend, our kids were in junior school together. Her daughter's transitioning to be a trans male. And it's complicated, it's tricky, it's very emotional, but I can assure you that none of them are interested in what someone like Lorna Slater's got to do.
No.
They just want to get on with their lives.
It's kind of a personal thing as well, isn't it? You don't have to put it out there and to be talking to everybody about it, you know.
They're
but
being
if you open it up for discussion, everybody should be able to join that discussion. That's the whole joy of free speech.
Well, exactly.
So you don't shut people down by saying you're an anti-Semite or a racist because you're opposed to it. And I mean, bedwetters like Lorna, you know, need to stay in their corner.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Yeah. Right, well, I'm going to take a slight turn away from all of that. I'm going to go for Boris Becker in the first instance. Everybody loves Boris, right?
Boris.
Everybody thinks he's great. He's hilarious. When
Few secrets in the cupboard.
Few secrets in the cupboard. You know, don't go into a cupboard with him expecting nothing to happen. As you say.
Championship round.
He's been at Southwark Crown Court. Last week, right? He's been accused of trying to hide millions and millions of pounds. £3 million on his estate in Mallorca is what he owes over an unpaid loan. I just wonder how, and I've got some sympathy with Boris, but I mean, how do you have such a successful tennis career and find yourself having a loan that you can't repay?
Well, he's always been
extraordinary.
He's a playboy, isn't he? He's always had to play. So they tend to spend a lot of money, playboys. But where did he hide the money? Do we know? Was it in a sock under a
nobody's
mattress?
very sure.
In a cupboard?
Oh, no. Apparently, from what I saw, there was a whole load of...
it's assets more than money, I think.
Oh, okay.
And he pretended he didn't own.
Okay.
So he has actually been a little bit dishonest, you know, I'm afraid. But they might
he's
make
transferring the titles of properties into,
like,
wives and goodness.
Yeah, no, that doesn't... I don't own that. That's not mine. It was like when Emily Thornbury was asked by Jeremy Kyle, but you own 3 houses, don't you? She says, I don't live in them.
No,
one of
and I bought one for my ailing mother.
One's for my ailing mother, and one's for my brother. But you still own them, and they're still yours. So you're still liable to pay tax on them. So he now is facing 7 years in jail.
No, this is really bad.
Now, I mean, for a man of his kind of stature and fame and fortune, it's a pretty ignominious, departure.
How the mighty fall.
Really, his own mother is begging a judge not to send him to prison. I'm sure he won't go to prison. I can't believe he will. But he's been found guilty of 4 charges under the Insolvency Act, acquitted of a further 20 counts. And he just cuts a very forlorn figure. And it's like he's done it to himself. I feel bad for him.
Yeah.
That he's a plank because he doesn't need to be sitting there.
Or he was advised badly.
It's a white-collar crime, and I love Boris. To me, he's one of the best commentators when Wimbledon's on. I just love him. And I remember him winning Wimbledon when he was 17.
I remember
that. It was
amazing.
Incredible.
No, I remember.
But yeah, your plankery's coming from how did you let this happen
Yes, you shouldn't have let this happen to yourself. You shouldn't be there. Maybe he'll be at Wimbledon this year with an ankle bracelet. I mean, that'll be quite good fun. They won't let him through the security.
Hey, maybe Chanel could do one.
Yeah.
That'd be great. I'd wear that.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Right, your second nomination, please.
OK, I have recently watched the amazing... I'm going to big up the Netflix documentary here, which is Jimmy Savile.
I've heard it's very good.
A British Horror Story. Now, when I was a kid, Jimmy Savile gave me the creeps. As a kid and a young teen, I never understood why he had these TV shows and why everyone was in his thrall. And my mum used to say to me, he's a real hard knock, he's got a reputation as being quite nasty behind the scenes. So there was always that kind of circulating.
There was always that,
So I never got it, never knew why people were all over him like a cheap suit. This documentary goes so deep, it does such a deep dive, there's even more to discover. And when you see all the clips of him edited together, he was hiding in plain sight.
Yeah.
The times he was interviewed and he was going, and he'd always crack that horrible joke going, oh, no, they can't, I'm fine with it. My case comes up on Thursday. It always like, there's this case pending, this joke case. And then there's one clip from a documentary he's doing at Loch Ness and they're talking about the monster. And he says, I reckon there's a couple of monsters in there, but they won't come out today. You know why? Because they don't like competition. And he basically said, I'm a monster. He was hiding in plain sight. And the BBC had untold opportunities to do something about it, as did the different police forces. I think it was West Yorkshire and the Met. And then on top of that, Prince Charles went to him as a confidant. And Jimmy Savile shows letters where Prince Charles is saying, thank you so much for your honest guidance and all this kind of thing. And I'm just... I don't know if I'm nominating all three of them, but I'll rein
We'll go with the BBC, I think.
They had but he was making...
Also, they knew what he was doing when he was working there.
On
right?
the premises, in his dressing room.
And I mean, I've not seen the documentary, but I'm told some of the footage, you can clearly see what he's doing.
I'll tell you one...
Right?
Yeah, I'll tell you one bit. Gary Glitter is a guest on one of his shows, and they make some kind of snide, misogynistic, sleazy conversation between them on camera. And Jimmy says, don't worry, I've got them all lined up on a beanbag backstage for you. They didn't even care. And the BBC were filming it. People were working on these shows. Yeah. The executives knew what was going on, but they were either too scared of his influence or he made them too much money.
Yeah. It's a shocking situation. And in defence of newspapers, because we often get accused of never doing the story either, every time I was ever involved in anything to do with Jimmy Savile, he had these very powerful lawyers, and unfortunately the people who told the stories about what he'd done to them were never very believable witnesses, and you just thought, and so your own lawyers would say, look, if you can't prove this, which you can't, you know, we're going to lose a bucket load of money.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
They'd bottle it. The girls would bottle it.
The show on Netflix, I watched it the other night, actually, with a very good mate of mine, Mark Williams-Thomas, who's the guy who actually broke the story of Jimmy Savile and got it out into the public domain. And Mark and I were watching it, and there's some incredible archive footage in it.
Oh, it's like...
But I think the whole thing about it, you look at it, like you said, Carol, you look at it now and you look at Jimmy Savile and what a creepy character he really was.
Always was.
Not that far from the child catcher from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
No.
And you're thinking...
And like you said, he played up to it.
And you're going, this guy is a creep. Why is everybody giving him so much time and respect?
But I thought that at the time...
But it was a fundraising. Did you ever do Top of the Pops with him?
No, thank God. No, absolutely not. But I remember my aunt, who she thought he was amazing because of all the work he did with Stoke Mandeville and the the spinal injury.
Then we found out what he was also doing there, which was awful.
Oh, don't. I know.
We've got to rush, I'm afraid.
Okay.
Your second one, Will.
So my next one is Stop Oil and, if I may, Extinction Rebellion as well.
They're all in there,
Throw them all in.
There's all sorts of them.
Yeah, I mean, what you guys have been doing on Talk Radio has been brilliant. Some of the interviews, stuff you've been doing, Julia's been doing, just outing these morons. Basically,
that's what they are.
Completely. I mean, and on a serious level, I mean, the problem is Keir Starmer has been opposing all the laws for us to be able to, or the police to be able to do anything really serious about these guys. In my book, they're not that far off terrorists, although they don't create direct harm or intend direct harm to individuals.
But they vandalise things.
They're stopping vehicles being able to move. They're closing down bridges. They're causing so much disruption. And to be honest, I think everyone's fed up to the back teeth of these clowns.
I think they're losing credibility by the day.
My husband was coming home from London back out to Oxfordshire, where we lived, the other night, and he had the phone on hands-free, folks, and he was going, oh my God, I can see, I think it's Extinction Rebellion, I can see all the police. And he just got through as they literally closed ranks behind his car. He was almost the last car through. But he said, I'm sorry, I would just drive through them.
Well,
It's so angry.
Well, this is
enjoy
it.
That.
Yeah.
My favourite video of the week was that guy in Holland. Did you see him? There was a guy, they blockaded some oil terminal in Holland, and the guy was trying to get to work, and he's just got a very ordinary sort of family estate car, and he just goes around the roadblock, and two of them are standing like this trying to stop him. He just keeps going. Great. Not fast, just, just walk quite slowly until they have to, because they can't stop the car moving, and he eventually gets around and he goes to work.
They get out
and I think that's the way to go.
Doesn't it make you remember Swampy fondly?
I love Swampy.
He was just up a tree.
I know. He's still around, apparently.
Apparently
the son of Swampy now.
And the guy who used to shout outside of the Houses of Parliament. They were like great British eccentrics protesters. But these people are such pains in the ass. And it's like
dead loss.
And it's like a rites of passage now. I have to do my time in XR or something.
But even Swampy,
we've got to do our time here.
Mercedes.
We've got to do our time here. We're running out of it, I'm afraid. We haven't got much time at all, so I'm going to keep mine very short. Wizz Air. I don't know whether you've ever travelled on Wizz Air.
Travelled on them.
Wizz Air apparently is in the business of moving people from Ukraine who have managed to get to Poland. They're flying them back to Britain.
Okay, that's a good thing.
Because they're hooking them up with people who are putting them up in their houses. One woman told this rather unbelievable story. Agnes Edmonds is her name. 2 people that she had nominated to fly back from Krakow to Luton. I mean, imagine moving from Krakow to Luton.
That, like they haven't had enough.
I think,
of a
they
hard
haven't
time.
suffered enough.
Yeah.
Going to get PTSD from Luton, that's for sure.
I don't know whether the government's paying for the flights, but the flights are free.
Yeah.
But what they decided to do, Wizz Air, was charge them for the suitcases. Unbelievable, right? These people are fleeing a war zone, right? They probably left maybe a brother behind or a father.
Yeah.
They got charged €130 for 2 suitcases.
What?
And they had to pay it.
1 kilo over the weight level.
I mean, that's £108.49 pence. Absolutely unbelievable. So Wizz Air, just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Right.
You know, I travelled on them from Bulgaria once, and they are. I mean, they make EasyJet look like first-class British Airways.
Shocking. Right, your third one.
My third one. OK, I'm going to go...
We've got about 5 minutes left.
For a lovely little town called St Blay.
Oh, yes.
Which is down in Cornwall, I believe. I hope I've got my geography right. I couldn't believe what I was reading. So it turns out that daffodils have a little toxicity about them, like a lot of plants do, like poison ivy and mushrooms and stuff like that. So most town councils now, you know, the daffs come out, don't they, in March, and they're lovely, and I always buy them in the supermarket and love to see them spread around the town I live in. So apparently St Blay Town Council, as they die off, are refusing, they're digging them up and refusing to plant any more because they are poisonous and they are concerned that somebody might eat them.
They're concerned specifically that children are going to eat them, right? Now, you've got children.
I've never seen...
I've got 4 kids. Not one of them has ever tried to eat a daffodil.
No.
And I've never actually told them not to. They just know it's not a good idea.
I used to eat mud as a child.
Mud's fine.
That explains a lot, doesn't it?
Mud's all right.
Well,
I used to eat sand.
I know. And my husband...
That was my favourite.
Too many of my nights out, Mike. I maybe still do.
We always say about my husband, Richard will literally eat anything, you know. And so we were at a restaurant...
Again, Carol, he's a para.
We were at a restaurant once and Scarlett was quite little and we talked about it. She went, I bet you wouldn't eat that flower. And Richard ate the flower off the table in the restaurant. So Richard possibly would eat a daffodil, but that's Darwinism.
But then that's the way life goes. We don't need... I mean, I said at the time when this story came out, they might as well kill off all the wildlife.
I know.
All the cattle in the fields around there because they might stampede and murder everybody.
I know.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Crazy.
So Will,
your final one for you guys. No surprises, Prince Harry hits the headlines
well done.
Again.
It's been a while since he's been in.
It has been a while. They've been a little quiet, and I think probably their PR sort of poked him with a hot prod and went, you know, come on, guys, break cover. And the latest one from Team Harry and Meghan is Harry wanting to vocalise his dislike of his father's wife, and that he's threatening to tell all in his imminent memoirs, which... I'm not sure how many will... I think a lot of people will buy it just really to see the ramblings of insanity. But, you know, it's this dirty washing in public. You know, it's doing the family laundry in public, which I just don't get. And why does he have to just be antagonistic?
Nobody cares.
I don't know about you, Mike, but I've got no F's to give when it comes to Harry's opinion on it.
Hasn't he had enough of that with, like, Charles and Diana's different interviews sort of 25 years ago and Squidgy Gate? Remember when that was in the papers, which was...
That was awful, wasn't it?
Yeah. But also... You know, if I can just have a little go at Harry and Meghan as well while I've got the opportunity. How can they come as close as the Netherlands for the Invictus Games and yet not
literally flying over Britain
for Prince Philip's...
I know.
Oh, it's too dangerous here, you know.
And to see his Gran, who isn't very well. You know, the Queen's not very well at the moment.
It's a shocking dereliction of...
I just think
don't know how he squares that.
It's just horribly sad. And I mean, and the rift supposedly between him and William. And it's just... Seriously, I mean, fine, go off and do your own thing, but stop poking your head up. It's like whack-a-mole, because literally the press and everybody else will just... They're not doing anything that anybody, as far as I can see, and maybe I'm missing it, but nothing that anybody can turn around and say, you know what, good for you guys, you know, you're being... It's Edward and Mrs Simpson, Starley, just go off and live in...
Except they're nobodies. I mean, Edward was the king.
Well, true.
This bloke isn't anywhere near it. He's 6 removed. And it'll be more than that probably soon. You know, it'll end up being 10th. You know,
what galls me is all the money they got from Spotify, where, you know,
And
people
Netflix,
and
yeah.
artists of my level, we get nothing from Spotify, and they throw millions at those two.
Well, maybe you should do a podcast about compassion.
Oh,
Compassion.
I know. Safe spaces.
Safe spaces.
Safe spaces for redheads.
Communities.
Nobody gives us a safe space. No.
It's
Safe
true.
space.
It is ridiculous. Right, now, you've been waiting for this one, right? My final
for it.
and third nomination is, of course, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Mr. Rishi Sunak. Because I don't care whether you think he did anything wrong or he didn't do anything wrong, he's definitely a plank for getting himself into this situation. I don't know what it is about senior Tories. You know, Boris has got himself into all sorts of trouble because of Mrs. Johnson, Carrie, who wants him to have a green agenda and promote net zero. This bloke marries the richest woman in Christendom, and richer than the Queen, apparently, this woman from India, and allows her to dodge taxes that she now says she's going to pay. So, I mean, it's ridiculous,
Is it dodge taxes, though?
I'm
Team Rishi,
It's avoiding taxes.
I am Team Rishi.
Now, listen, I don't care what people do with their money, right?
Yeah.
But if you're the Chancellor of the Exchequer and you are currently chasing people like me and you for more taxes...
True.
Because, you know, you're self-employed, you too, Carol... You know, the money that we now have to pay in taxes is unbelievable.
And I got nothing. I got nothing off Rishi in lockdown. Not a penny for 2 years. So I've lived out of my savings.
Good for you. I mean, but I think you know there are always going to be certain avoidance schemes within.
Yeah, but
HMRC.
you can't be doing that if you're the Chancellor.
It's a bad look.
Yeah, but the HMRC is always going to make those windows open. Otherwise, all the wealth will leave this country.
That's
But
rubbish.
I think what Mike's saying is, I completely agree. She's done nothing illegal, but he should have said, "Listen, love, you can pay a lot of this tax in India if you want to."
Yeah.
Perfectly. It's not going to look
At some
great.
point or other, at some point or other,
I think PR-wise, it's not great.
No.
If you're in the government, you've got to say to your spouse, whether it's a man or a woman, I don't care. Look, you can't do this because it's not going to look very good. You know, we used to call it the private eye test. What's it going to look like? It's in the private eye. It's not going to look good.
I've been in
so
private
don't do it. Yeah, so have I. But not for anything horrible, thank God.
No, mine was
There's things they don't know. Anyway, so he's a plank because not only... they also have played it really badly.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning, she said that she was an Indian citizen and this was the only way she could be in Britain. She had to be a non-dom because they didn't allow her to be a citizen of any other country. Then there's the green card, which is also kind of inexplicable. Then there's the fact that she's got all sorts of money from the furlough scheme, which is also a bit mysterious. Then there's the fact that he puts the old petrol nozzle into somebody else's car to pretend he hasn't got
but that's
a Range Rover,
nonsense,
hasn't got a Range Rover or a top-of-the-range BMW. I mean, I don't care how much money he's got. Just don't pretend you're like the rest of us. Anyway.
It's a bit nauseating, isn't it?
It really is.
I think there is definitely because he's evidently the next contender for PM.
Not anymore.
Do you think he still is?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. I think the problem is
he's
that
blown it.
This is an internal sabotage mission that's been run on him.
He's been completely kiboshed by Boris.
Yeah,
he's been
of course
kiboshed
he has.
by Boris.
But I am Team Rishi. I mean, I'm for the guy.
OK. Well, now it's time to pick the winning three out of all of our... so I think we'll do what we did last week, which is you nominate your favourite one.
Yeah.
And we'll make these the finalists.
Out of our own?
Just out of your own, yeah, because it takes too long otherwise.
OK, Just Stop Oil and Extinction Rebellion, window lickers.
That sounds good.
Wetters.
Sounds good.
I'm going to go with the Moscow elite cutting up Chanel handbags in horror, protesting that Chanel closed the boutique.
OK. I feel like I should go with Rishi Sunak because I think he has got to be this week's plank. He has to be, doesn't he? I mean, he's going to lose everything as a result of his own behaviour. So we've got Russian models, we've got Just Stop Oil and Rishi Sunak.
I would say the implications of what's happened, you're probably right.
Because we're going to lose the Chancellor as a result of his plankish behaviour. So I'm right again, aren't I? You know I am.
No,
he can't stand it.
He's on a par with Boris Becker.
No, it's not that bad.
It's daft. They've done it to themselves.
Yeah, he's done it to himself. He's kiboshed his own career.
Yeah.
You're beating me up here.
Yeah. I think we're going to have to go with Rishi Sunak. We'll give you Just Stop Oil maybe as the number 2.
Yes.
Shall we? Because they've also caused a lot of problems.
But I'm sure they'll
nothing
turn up next
personal,
week.
but we'll give the Russian models to you number 3.
I don't like it.
All women
Not fair.
think that it's about them, right? They always want to win.
Das Vidania.
I don't know why.
Das Vidania.
Yeah, Das Vidania. So, Rishi Sunak, I'm afraid you are this week's Plank of the Week. See you next time.